Welcome to Purple Coach Conversation with Anne and Tanya. Our goal is to normalize, educate, and inspire conversations around diversity and inclusion. We are both coaches, mothers, and entrepreneurs. We are not diversity experts, but aim to have conversations with people that will have something interesting and unique to say about their journey and experiences in diversity and inclusion. Today, we have the honor of being joined with Alessandra Bester and Gabi Marriott. Alessandra, you can raise your hand just so we know who we're talking to exactly. Alessandra there is a founder of a functional food company and Team Nono. And Team Nono produces allergy-friendly and vegan gluten-free food for people who have to eat differently for health reasons. Alessandra will go into more details about her journey and how she thought about this fantastic project. She's a single mother of Ethan, who's now 16 years old, and who has autism, celiac, and struggles with allergies, and once said no to everything but chocolate, hence why this company got set up. And Gabi, who's on the right-hand side exactly, but I don't know how you screen are, so that's why I thought of raising her just to be sure. Gabi Marriott, she's neurodiverse, mother of 2 children, and she joined the team Nono 6 months ago, and her life has completely changed since then. Thank you, ladies, for being there. Thank you so much. We want to give you the stage and ask you to tell us a little bit about yourselves. So Alessandra, why don't you start?
Well, I think you've covered up quite a bit about the fact that I'm first and foremost a mum. Mum on a mission to not just improve the life of my son, but everyone else on the spectrum. And I really feel that I have a good understanding of autism, and I feel like I represent people on the spectrum. Therefore, I can't imagine not trying to do something about it. Obviously, the drive and the desire to improve the life of people with autism stems from having my own struggles with my son, who's on the severer side of the spectrum, who was nonverbal and has severe sensory processing disorder early in life. And watch him to blossoming to be the young man he is now, I really am a true believer that everything is possible, because a lot of the predictions made for him were quite poor. And so when my son was younger, he couldn't chew or swallow and eat properly. He couldn't taste food. He couldn't smell. He couldn't feel temperatures. So he wasn't eager to eat at all. And later on, we learned that he also had allergies. He's celiac. Once that was addressed, he was still not really eating very well. He was more attracted to things that look pretty rather than things that taste good. And so through occupational therapy, sensory stimulation of the nerves around his mouth, eating things that were cold and zesty and hot and spicy, giving a lot of information to the brain, he's begun to try and eat more of a range of food. But at the beginning, things were quite complex in the way that I have had to hide nutrition into things that he would eat. So he would pick a pretty yellow flour chocolate because it looked good and cute, and explore it with his mouth, more like the way toddler explores toys. And what he didn't know, he was getting his daily vitamins and minerals and some essential fat and amino acids in that chocolate. And throughout the process, his taste buds became so superior that he's the master tester now, and he can detect a drop of nothing in the water. So I can no longer just put drops of vitamins into his water because he can detect that. And then so kind of this is how the chocolates came about. He will say no to everything. So we call the chocolate no because they have no dairy, no gluten, no artificial ingredient, no nuts, and so on. And obviously he's the no boy because he never just say no, he says no. And so then it's the team no as well, because we say no to exclusion and no to discrimination and sexism and racism and so on.
Anything else?
So basically all the no-nos, which by the way in many different languages around the world means yes, came about. But I never really thought of making the chocolate a business or a company. It was only when I when I was a part of a big social network where people were following my son's life and all the efforts I was making to try to improve his life and help him eat and so on. And everyone was like, oh, I want some, my son's got this problem. I just want for myself because I'm actually anorexic, etc., etc. So idea came in that, you know, there were actually people who had to eat differently for a range of reasons that will use the product. So we started a company, but my initial thought was, okay, how many single moms can come and join me in a team? You know, are there any people who used to be carers who are redundant and feel that they might not have enough experience to obtain a job that can join my team? So I started experimenting with that, being a part of the massive network. I discovered that if I train carers, they can then care for or supervise, overlook the work of people on the spectrum who will join the team. Maybe sometimes when my son is in his 20. But what I didn't expect that when he was 10 years old, he joined the team with enthusiasm and was able to do things much better than he does at school, because at school everything was arts and crafts, where, you know, when you start at nursery at age of 2, by the time you're 10, you're quite fed up of gluing flowers onto paper and making greeting cards like that. It's just there is no purpose to it, there is no end result to it, where labeling envelope, putting stickers on the boxes, going to the shop, seeing the box on the shelf, you know, watching other people enjoying it, it makes a direct connection. And for my son, interacting with the world is through what he does and how it makes them feel, because he's very socially driven. So he works for social reward. So if you do something and you smile, it's more important to him than if you give him chocolate for what he's done. By the way, he's been fired. He's been fired from the company. Yes.
Why?
Ethan. Yeah, because
What's
when he was
done?
younger, he could decorate the chocolate and paint
Now
them
he
and so
eats
on.
it.
Now he eats all the product.
What
He's
about
been,
the hammer? that
yeah,
he ate?
he even eat the hammer. So he's been moved onto envelope duty. He can only do stickers and other not eatable things because we are here for profit. Yeah.
He's been relocated, basically. He's been relocated. But your chocolate are so beautiful to look at. And if you have, I know I see you have a box behind, isn't that the Advent calendar?
The Advent calendar, and talking about diversity, the Advent calendar idea came exactly, you see there are landmarks from all around the world of all kind of religions and just landmarks from different countries. We wanted to unite the world with 24 flavors from different countries in one box.
They're amazing.
Just to remind people that the world is a home, that so many things have really kind of separated us because of COVID, because of religion, conflict, and all sorts. But actually, we need the whole world to enjoy the things that we enjoy every day. We need the workforce, we need the cocoa from Africa and from America. We need the Indian to do the paper and the ribbons, and that, you know, we can exist as a single nation. Because we'll be deprived of all the precious things. So this calendar, it's a reminder, and there's a little trick at the end on a day of 24, there's a little light that you put inside, and when all the windows are open, we're gonna light up the world's house for everyone to see that, you know, the world is a home. So
That sounds amazing. And what a beautiful, beautiful way of doing that as well. A beautiful way of bringing this Advent calendar and giving it a whole new light and of inclusivity. And I feel like love as well, really. Making sure that everyone feels, included.
So, we actually are going to be educating people on different traditions and food traditions each time they open a window. So we have team members from Thailand, so we made pandan and lemongrass chocolate, and you know, we're going to be educating people about, you know, that culture. We have a woman from Ghana who make baobab that we buy directly from them, making them businesswomen rather than people relying on charity, and we know them personally. And you know, seeing how we are connected more than disconnected. Yeah,
I love that. It's absolutely brilliant. And especially with, you know, talking about the chocolates are made to be full of nutrition, and, you know, as well, obviously baobab is such a superfood. I have that with my son as well, who is a really, really fussy eater. So I'm always sneaking in baobab and moringa and chia seeds and all sorts of other kind of superfoods into his porridge or anywhere else that I can sneak them into. Gabi, would love to hear about you as well and get to know you a little bit better.
Okay, well, my name is Gabi. I'm English born. I think about myself as actually half Israeli, as most of my family live in Israel. I do speak the language. My school education was interesting because the first primary school I went to, not being negative, but one of my form tutors actually bullied me. So my parents were very upset about it. So they whipped me out of that school and put me into an amazing school, primary school in Hendon, called Independent Jewish Day School. And it's sort of, they were amazing there. They helped me, they taught me another language. They didn't make fun of me. They included me in everything, and it gave me a new lease of life. Then aged 11, I went to another massive Jewish school called JFS in Camden Town. It's been knocked down and now it's in Kenton. No negativity there really, but I felt very excluded in that school, and it was too big. It was 1,500 children. And I hated it, if I'm allowed to say that. Yeah. I absolutely hated it. But I can't blame my parents. You know, they thought they knew what was best. So fast forwarding that, I actually left school age 16 and a half and got a job as a chef. My love of food actually came from my grandparents. They owned a hotel in Bournemouth by the sea called the Green Park Hotel. It was made into a film, and there's a book on the hotel called The Jewish Hotels of Bournemouth. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. And I used to always sneak out at 5 o'clock in the morning on a weekend, on a Friday, and sneak into the bakery and watch the baker prepare the most incredible food. And my love of food came from there. So hence, when I was 16, I got my qualification as a chef. And to this day, I love cooking, experimenting, hence I'm with Alice. I've got two gorgeous kids. My youngest is 17 and he is mildly autistic. He is incredibly intelligent. He's in college studying. My older son is 19 and he's in Imperial College doing a biomedical engineering degree. And to be honest with you, when I was diagnosed aged 31 with Asperger's, first I was diagnosed with ADHD, then they thought it was ADD. It took a specialist in Birmingham to diagnose me with Asperger's. And they put me on Ritalin, they put me on this, they put me on that. and it didn't really help, to be honest with you. And so when I moved back to London after I lived in Spain in a very challenging relationship of 10 years, and I left my now ex-boyfriend of 10 years and moved during lockdown, which was challenging in itself, very challenging, probably the worst time of my life, really. And I moved back here, things settled, I'm on new medication. I had 6 months of therapy, and then on Facebook one day I saw this little, what do you call it, advert saying Team No looking for helpers, was it?
Yeah, new team members.
New team members. I'm like, okay. So I messaged Alice. She didn't get back to me. So I thought, okay, maybe I'll find a phone number. I thought maybe I'll send her a WhatsApp or something. And the next thing you know, she emailed me back, and the rest is history. I've been here 6 months, and I'm telling you right now, from the bottom of my heart, I haven't felt so happy about waking up in the morning and actually enjoying what I do, because I feel included. I can help her. She doesn't, we just have this natural bond between us. It's like we're two peas in a pod. We work on each other. We, you know, when she was ill in hospital, I was terrified for her. I was literally, my heart was breaking. I was like, can I do anything for you? You know, but I was also unwell. So it was like, I was 11 days at home under lock and key. It was crazy, but you know what? I'm so much happier now. And my life has totally changed. I feel like I'm alive again for the first time in 10 years. And that is so much more, that's better for me. You know, my kids love seeing me happy, which is so important. Yes, they do get chocolate. Yes, on their birthday. My younger son, he said, Mummy, I want this, this, and this. So Alice and I prepared a lovely box of chocolate. Oh, it was gorgeous.
But also your parents.
My parents
had an insight into the factory yesterday.
Oh, they loved it.
It was, you could see how joyful it was for them to see where Gabi works and
so special.
How she works, and that it's real, that it's not just, you know, makeup and
my dad loved it.
Yeah, your dad asked for pictures before from workplace, just to see her at work and what she's doing.
But yesterday they got a video, they got a live chat, and it was really special. My dad was like, wow, and he couldn't believe how many chocolates there were. I'm like, yes, there's a lot of chocolate.
Yeah,
I mean, so lovely to hear from both of you. And thank you so much for sharing your journeys as well, and how you've come together, and beautiful stories from both of you, and very inspiring as well, I think, for our guests to hear that, you know, from challenging experiences, you've grown and made the best out of the situation into something so positive and something that is so valuable as well to other people and not just to ourselves. And I think that's always a beautiful thing, to be able to give back and add value to other people's lives. And I'd love to hear from you. Last time we spoke, you had a really beautiful way of explaining what autism is and kind of busting a few of the myths that people have about autism. And I remember you shared a story about a cartoon. There was a cartoon description of how the brain works very differently. Would you be able to share that with us, please? I found it really, really interesting.
Yes, so when my son was about 2 years old, I because I have experience in behaviorism from my education. I work in psychiatric units with adults with autism when I was in university. So when my son was 2 years old, every time we went out, play at the playground with children, as you do, I observed other children looking at him in a very different way. And because back then I was really very engaged into my son's world, and I was trying to make myself small and try to think how 2-year-old think. I was trying to think about how I can explain to 2, 3, 4, 5-year-old why my son is different, why is he behaving the way he is. And little did I know that what I created was going to be a leaflet for children 3 to 5 who need the information to understand why someone is different when someone's on the spectrum. So I drew this to 2 little boys, one Tom and Paul, and Tom had blue eyes and blonde hair, and Paul had darker skin and brown eyes, and they were both boys. And that's so that the visual side were different, so children can understand that can visually be different things you immediately see. But as the pages of the little brochure progresses, it shows that Paul is able to ask for things and approach another child and play, where Tom, it's actually quite shy and it's in the corner, and why it's that. And then to make it really memorable and funny for children to understand, I drew a Paul who has 2 sides of a brain inside his head, and they are very wired. There's a lot of connection between one and the other. When Tom has 2 parts of a brain, but they're not really connecting. Sometimes they are disconnected. And for that reason, he finds, for instance, really hard to do 2 things at the same time, like walk and talk, or look at you and talk at the same time, or eat when someone else is looking, etc., etc. And the feedback I had from children was really wonderful. And I've actually used this very simple description of defining autism for adults as a quick way to understand. So instead of saying autism, it's a neurological condition that affects X% of population, blah, 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 and affects their communication, social engagement, which is very formal, it's more like, here's your brain, neurotypical brain that's really well wired, and you are taking full advantage of it. But here's the autistic brain, it's wired in a different way, and it's different, not worse. And the more you explore the autistic brain, the more you realize that it complements our brains and the way we think, rather than it is so separate that we have to reshape it and make it more like ours.
Yeah, that's a really beautiful, simple example as well. I think even grown-ups, as you're saying, could take away a lot from that explanation, because I think it's a term that we're hearing more and more in our society. But I think unless you're directly affected by it, whether it's a family member, a friend, children, not a lot of people still really know what autism looks like or feels like for the person and the family experiencing it. So I loved that description of like just keeping it simple, and how, yes, it's about communication and behavior is different, but it's different because of the way the brain is wired. It's not bad, it's just different, because there's also all of those looks that sometimes I feel like I get with my son, who's also autistic. He's on the spectrum, so has certain autistic traits that some of them are visible and some of them are not very visible. So you'll see them with his nonverbal, for example, and so on. But it's just people understanding that it's not a bad thing, it's just different, right?
Yeah.
Gabi, would love to hear from you as well in terms of your experience of how it's been for you living with ADHD. Sorry, Asperger's. Yeah.
Asperger's, yeah.
Yes.
Well,
So within the team, yeah.
Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, working in a team where Alice actually understands autism on many different scales, I can actually do 2 things at once. I can work and I can talk, and sometimes that's what is needed. I might be decorating chocolate or undoing them from the molds, and yet I can still talk, because we need to have a conversation, whether it's about ordering chocolate, whether it's...
Or actually in Gabi's case, for her, talking is essential.
I like to talk.
Yeah, she loves talking. She likes to be social. It's like my son. she comes here, the ultimate reward, it's to
Yeah.
be able to talk and be herself and talk about whatever she wants to talk about, and that does not stop her from working. However, when there's more people in a room,
I find it extremely challenging, like in social gatherings, like if I'm with my family, I find it extremely overloading on my brain. I mean, I get sensory overload if there's more than 4 people in the room. It's just crazy. You know, this is different because we're all in different rooms, but yet we're all talking. So I'm fine with that. But if there's more people, I stop.
And I love the way Gabi manages herself. She's over the years has learned so many different ways to support her nerve system, and knowing how to come down, knowing when to take a break. I love your bench. She has her special bench very near her house.
When I finish work here, or if I've been out and about, I go to a bench, whatever time of day or night it is, and just sit down and just let the world go by and just stop everything. And when I get home, I'm calm.
What do you call the bench?
My bench. I call it my bench. It's actually a very beautiful bench. It's where you can see all the stars, you can hear the birds tweet, you know, and it's quiet. Even though it's in a very busy area, it's so quiet. And I can just sit down, chill out, have a coffee, relax, and just ignore the world.
I mean, living on a spectrum, it's about all those little details, knowing yourself, I suppose. I know that Gabi plans trips to supermarket, and she has to plan what happened afterwards, right?
Yeah.
Because it's so overwhelming that she can't really make a plan for after supermarkets, because she needs time to recover.
I just need time to break, otherwise I will crash. But it's fine, I deal with it. Sometimes I say to Alice, I'm going to the supermarket. She says, good luck. Otherwise I crash, I fall apart.
Or sometimes I give you the don't preempty, don't go there with the idea that you're going to crash. You know, try to go with the idea that you will choose whom you want to speak to, that there is no obligation to speak to everyone, and that it's exhausting, you know, that maybe focus on what you want to buy rather than who you want to talk to.
But a positive thing happened actually a few weeks ago when I was in Waitrose. I walked in there just before work one morning, and there was this lady who was picking up advent calendars, and I thought, shall I, shan't I? Anyway, fast forward, I gave her a leaflet and I said, our advent calendars are 10 times better than any of these, and hence she ordered 2 advent calendars, and I'm delivering them later on in the
lady lives nearby, so she's going to personally deliver.
What a beautiful act of courage in a setting that is overwhelming, that you've managed to kind of select, okay, I'm going to speak with her because I'm so passionate about what I do, that this speaks to me, and I'm not afraid to speak, and you know, to overcome
something I'm passionate about.
Exactly. But it's when we see you talking, the two of you, it's just like, it's a treat to the eyes, because it's very much like, you know, Alessandra is like the captain of a fantastic, beautiful red boat, and you're all there working, and you kind of going up and down the ship, so you're not always there sailing, or you're not always there downstairs, you know, organizing things. You can be doing many different things depending on how you might feel, how, you know, you might wake up a certain day, if you need to speak to people, if you can't speak to people, etc. And that's a beautiful example of inclusive leadership from Alessandra, and beautiful combination of, you know, understanding one another, and really just applying inclusivity in your day-to-day. And I want to hear more about that, because we've talked about the autism and Asperger's, but I know from having followed you for quite some time that you also try and work as much as possible with other type of inclusivity, so LGBT and artists, and I was looking earlier at your Instagram. I don't know if we'll be able to see, but here, you know, in your chocolates there's an artist there. Can you talk us a little bit about how you are even more inclusive in the way, not just in the people that you hire, but who you promote with your products?
Since the beginning of the project, when I started producing from home kitchen, my son got involved. I thought, if he can do it, imagine what others can do. I will have people with mental health problem, PTSD. The nature of the work was very much based on the principle of craft group, where you invite people. So I've attended it as a parent of child with autism. We will go to do mosaic and talk about problems. And so, you know, why can we produce something meaningful like chocolate and still talk about problems? Why do we have to separate both? Who has the time to go to mosaic workshop? Everyone is too busy. There's no reason why work shouldn't be that. So we've had a range of different people with different issues as a part of the team for a period of time. They will come in a very dark place. They build the courage to go and get a proper jobs, or a bigger jobs, or full-time jobs. And so it was like a stepping stone over the years for a lot of them to actually really reinvent themselves back into life. And all they really needed was that tiny little lift from a one person who believe, and a group support who validate their thoughts. So that's kind of in principle what the project does, that it's less visible. It's literally just people going through us, and they come and go, and as they gain confidence, we watch them blossoming. It's kind of the caterpillar butterfly story, and it's just the most beautiful things to watch. And some people were here who were extremely destroyed and crumbed into pieces. But I think what I learned from the people I'm working with is that there's no work done till we address them individually and how they feel and the mood they're in and what's bothering them, because they will always play underneath. So we always start with, you know, how are you, and tell me everything that's going on in your life. And then that's out of the way, then we can get on with the proper job. So it's been really wonderful to see how, you know, you will have people with multiply different labels in a way. So there'll be autistic, non-gender, LGBTQ plus, you know, undefined, or shaping themselves, etc. And well, what you always notice that no matter who is in the room and what labels they wearing or being put on them, we all have the same thing in common. We all suffer. We all want to be loved, and we all want to be needed and valued. And that once you start, you know, watching what we have in common and why are we here together and why is it working, it's because we are humans, not because we are have different sexual orientation or nationality or skin color or anything like that.
We're all human at the end of the day.
Gabi says that a lot. We're all human at the end of the day.
We all need to be aware of ourselves at the end of the day. It doesn't matter what we're going through. At the end of the day, we are who we are, and people do not understand that. And
to be who you are, it's the struggle that we all have in life. We always have to modify ourselves and pretend to be somebody else, and you know, to be able to go to work and be ourselves. It's a very unique thing, and it's hard to do, and it's not always possible, because you know, when it's just two of us, Gabi can be herself, but when it's another person in a group, you have to modify yourself, because you don't want to impose, you know, suffering on others as well. But going back to your question, the lockdown has kind of, for the first time in the history of the company, restrict who can come in and work with us directly. So knowing such a massive autistic community, on social media and through connections, I wanted to give more work opportunity to people who don't have to be here physically. So I have writers and bloggers and animators who have recruited freelance, who are all over the country. I had admin people who are a woman who is on a spectrum, who actually really feel uncomfortable leaving her bedroom, but she's perfectly able to do what needs to be done for my company. So the team is much bigger than people see. Not everyone wants to be exposed or photographed or shown on social media because they're very private. But at the moment, pretty much everyone who works here is on the spectrum, or has mental health issues, or other conditions, and obviously without saying they're very diverse in terms of nationality and culture. The other thing that really struck me was when I was looking for STAB, how many people of color were excluded from even being considered for employment because of the skin color rather than anything else. And so I actually specifically wanted to find team members that were of color, and those are future plans for involving young people of color who fell into a trap of the street life to actually be rediverted to something a little bit more positive as the project grow in the future. It's obviously a massive task, and I don't have enough experience of youth street workers, but I'm sure there's a lot of experts there who can definitely assist. And a lot of artists, wonderful, talented young people who are incredibly resourceful and able to work freelance emerged, as well as my recent study on the diagnosis of autism in women and how women have kind of taken the sideline because the majority of people on the spectrum are male. I wanted to celebrate them and what they are able to do. So I've recruited 50 autistic women artists to design packaging for 50 different chocolate bars. And we are launching them slowly and slowly. So starting with the diversity by Jade, who is a wonderful artist, and she created a artwork that wasn't for the chocolate, but we thought it was perfect for the chocolate because it shows different sizes of women and different skin color in different traditional cultural dresses. And I thought this is how I really want to start the project, by showing the diversity, the rainbow, and the chocolate is actually rainbow too, because it has the world's flavors in, and
it's amazing. And it's really brightly colored. I mean, I like wearing brightly colored clothes, but this chocolate is totally, I say bonkers.
It is bonkers.
It's bonkers.
It's like each bite, it's like life. Each bite, you never know what you're gonna get. It's kind of a Forrest Gump thing. And then the second one, strong but spring wise, you know, one of the most incredible autistic women who is just so incredibly strong and assertive and fighting for herself and her child who's on the spectrum, and she's very determined and not giving up, and you know, and I thought this is definitely, you know, her artwork, it's very bold. And you know, I'm thinking about those people they only need like a really good agent to represent them. Why companies should pay thousands of pounds to some fancy graphic designers when you have so much talent there that really needs to be shown? So we have another incredible artist just about to be shown with her artwork, Frances, severely autistic 38-year-old woman who has very, very complex needs, very complex sensory problem. And if you see her, you will think that, you know, she's just a crumble of body in the middle of the room that needs taking care of, till you give her a pencil and she does this precision bikes, drawing and nature, and creates these incredible sculptures from pieces of wood. And the stuff that's coming out of her workshop and the level of productivity, it's just incredible. And her parents who are aging, they're really determined for her to be financially independent, which she so deserves. So this is just the three I'm going to mention, and there's another 47 to go.
You'll have to send us the link if you can of those artists, so that we can include that in the notes, so that the audience can go and check them out straight away. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea, Tanya. If anyone who's a freelance and as you mentioned with the artist, anyone that you think as well that would like to get promoted through Purple Coach Conversations, would love to include their links on the when we post the recording as well. I think we can go on talking to the both of you forever, but just because of time restraints, we're just going to try and wrap it up. But I just want to say thank you so much to both of you for everything that you've shared. Thank you so much for the openness, the candidness, the stories. And I know it's going to be really inspiring to a lot of other listeners out there who are going through the same journey. I think, unfortunately, and I know this from personal experience, I think we don't talk about being on the spectrum or a lot of things enough. And therefore, we feel like we're alone in our journey, whether it's we're going through it or we have a family or children or, you know, anyone that we love and close to us going through it. So thank you very much. And I really hope that this helps a lot of other people as well to come out and start talking about it, seeking support from people around them, from communities around them as well. And just knowing that there are challenges, yes, but you're not alone, and getting that help and just support as well, and learning more as well about what it is to live on the spectrum.
I totally agree with you, because you're right. Autism, Asperger's, the scale, it's I mean, it is spoken about, but in a negative way. And I'm in a positive place, so there is positivity out of a negative situation.
But this is because you have had the most incredible parents.
Yeah.
So this is why support is so important.
Support is so important.
Because when you have parents like Gabi's, who've made her such a confident person, her autism will never get in the way of doing whatever she needs to do. This is why parents need to be really advocating their children, really.
Absolutely. Yeah,
exactly.
Family life, families themselves need to understand that they cannot put their head in the sand, because otherwise it's such a bad example on us, on me, on other people, that what are they going to learn from it? I learn every day something new, whether it's here, whether it's from my parents, whether it's from my children. You know, I'm constantly learning. So autism is not a bad thing. It's a challenging thing.
It's a work in progress.
It's a work in progress.
I always remind parents, especially of the young children on the spectrum, it's a developmental delay, not disorder. So it's delay. It will come at different times. So just because it's not there now doesn't mean it's not going to come. And as we all grow and progress throughout our lives, so do people on the spectrum.
Yeah.
Look,
I'm
never
working.
write them off.
I'm working for her, which is so important. You know, we are working together. She's including me in work. So I'm an example to the people out there. We can work. You know, we're not crazy. We work. We enjoy it. You know, and plus it's a dream job. Who doesn't want to work in a chocolate factory?
Hey, lady.
Thank you so much. Just how would you like people to connect with you? Any of our listeners listening? What is the best or way to connect with you, both of you?
So for both of us, through the website and Instagram at Nono Coco UK, and website nono-coco.com. I share with Gabi everything and the rest of the team.
And you've got you're following me, Tanya, as well, aren't you, on the Flapjackery or Gabi Merritt? I'm not sure which one, so people can contact me through there or through Alice. Yeah.
Okay. And we'll put those links as well on once we post the recording online.
Awesome.
So I just want to thank you both once again for your time with us and everything you've shared. And I want to thank our listeners as well. Make sure that you do follow them on Instagram and check out their website and the chocolates as well. They are absolutely beautiful. And make sure as well that you check our Facebook and our website as well for other previous recordings. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a lovely day. Take care.
Thank you, Gabi and
Bye.
Nadia. Bye-bye.
Bye.